Thanks for joining us today. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do here at Funnel?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'm Andrew. I've been at Funnel about actually exactly 3 years this week, and I am a lead product designer here at Funnel for our CRM and AI and automation teams. I do all kinds of design work, research, strategy, roadmap things. If it has anything to do with CRM and automation, AI stuff, I am pretty heavily involved there.
If you weren't doing this on your day to day, like if you were not a product designer, what would you be doing?
I guess that's a pretty easy question for me to answer. If I could I'm not going to pan around my room, but if I did, you'd see a bunch of music stuff. You'd see a bunch of guitars, like way too many guitars. And the answer would be something involved with music. I'm not going to say I would be like a rock star or something like that, which that'd be cool. But like, that also maybe like, you know, you have a passion, and if you make it a job, it can maybe kill the passion a little bit. So I don't know if I would necessarily be doing that, but it'd be fun. I could see myself being like, if money was no object, if I was just independently wealthy, like having a music store, selling vintage guitars or musical instruments to people, talking with folks who came in and helped them. So just being involved in that community in some way. Because yeah, definitely like outside of work, that's definitely a big passion of mine. Just playing music, listening to music, all things music related.
That's cool. It tees in nicely to another question I wanted to ask. Who you are outside of work always tends to influence like who you are at work and how you show up at work. How
Yeah.
does like whether it's music or other things you do outside of work, how does that bleed over and influence like who Andrew is here at Funnel?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about music the whole time, but like if we're being if we're using that as an example, a jumping off point, like I like collaborating with people in that way. I like playing music with other people. It's fun playing music by yourself, but playing music with other people and bouncing things off of each other and knowing when to listen and when to have input and feeding off each other's energy. It's exciting because it's, you don't really know where this thing is going. You're just improvising. It's a different way of thinking and very collaborative. You have to be adaptable. So I like to think that those skills, hopefully I bring that kind of skill set to work where I'm being adaptable and collaborating and listening to people and trying to see things that are ambiguous and figure out where something's going, it ending up in a place that maybe you didn't know when you started. So yeah, that's a big piece of it. Outside of that, I definitely enjoy spending time outside. So I live in Western North Carolina. It's beautiful here. We have mountains and rivers and hiking and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think getting outside like really helps ground me and center me in a way that when I come back to work, I'm fresh and inspired.
Thanks for sharing. I think it's
Yeah,
important to know who everyone is outside of their day to day at Funnel because while we do wear a lot of pink, we also wear some other hats. So
I
if
don't wear
you
hats.
had,
I actually
pardon?
don't wear. I don't wear
No
hats. I'm
hats.
not a good. Hats don't look good on me. I don't know what it. Maybe it's my ears or something. I don't know what it is, but like I wear a lot of hats figuratively, but not literally.
We'll mark that down on your swag orders
Yeah,
moving
thank you.
forward. How does your role in the work that you're doing impact renters and impact leasing teams?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because we have a unique problem with like the people that we're solving for, the people who use our product. So we have our customers, the people who actually are paying for Funnel. We have the users who are employees of that customer. We have the renters who rent at our customers' properties. So we have all kinds of users. We have all kinds of people that we are in contact with and hearing from. So for me, with CRM and AI and automation pods, we are primarily focused around leasing teams, but that doesn't mean that we don't impact renters as well. So what I mean by that is the leasing teams who use these particular products are like they're in funnel 99% of their workday. They're in funnel. They're using it all the time. So anything that we do there is a huge impact on them. So when we make improvements to improve their efficiency or enhance their workflows or reduce their workload, that's a big impact on them. And on the renter side, it's an indirect impact because they're not using CRM, they're not using automation necessarily directly, but they are interacting with it whether it's through like messaging with our automated email and SMS, or just having an interaction with the leasing agents who are using Funnel. So it can be a really big impact to them as well in terms of a very smooth experience when renting, because the teams that they're interacting with are using our products and making things more efficient and allowing them to focus on the communication, the relationships, rather than just managing information.
So, when you think about how you balance creativity and functionality when designing for those different user groups and for multifamily technology in general, can you talk to us a little bit about that thought process and how you balance those two needs?
Yeah, people hear designer, right? They automatically think creative, like you're making art, you're drawing, or just, be creative. That's definitely one piece of it, coming up with like creative solutions, but balance is definitely the right word here, because functionality, that's a very concrete process in terms of like determining functionality. We can gather those like requirements. We can know what a feature needs to accomplish, but we can do that in a way that doesn't inhibit our creativity of the solution. So we can establish the functionality. We know what needs to happen there, and write our requirements and boundaries for what a solution needs to be in a way that doesn't like, yeah, we're not dictating, here's exactly what this looks like. Here's what this has to be. And when I say like, when I'm talking about being creative, I don't want to say that like product designers are the only ones who can be creative here, because our entire team, engineering, support, like product, those people are immensely creative. They come up with creative solutions all the time. But just like speaking personally for me, yeah, we try not to put like limitations on what our solution can be based on like what it needs to do. So I think the right way to develop a product and make sure that the solutions we come up with can be innovative, and knowing when do you stick with familiar patterns and when do you introduce new concepts. And then I think the way we strike the balance, at least the way we can know that we strike the balance properly, is by the way we validate and engage with users, making sure we kind of strike that right mix of it being very usable, easy to use, and being innovative, something that they needed, maybe didn't even know they needed. So
I think you're right saying like the whole team is creative. So it's nice to be able to work with folks who are approaching things from new and novel ways. If you had a crystal ball and we're looking forward into the future, what are some projects that you're excited that you're working on here at Funnel? And what are some things that maybe aren't as far out that we've just released that you've been working on that you're proud of?
yeah, so I left out, when I talked about what I'm involved in, CRM and AI and automation, there's a big one that I left out, which is we have a new team, configuration and self-service related team, that we've spun up here. It's a scrappy team. It's a small team, myself and a couple other people right now, but it's growing, and I've run 2 workshops already this week internally and with customers. So this is all focused around how can that entire process from implementation and onboarding all the way through like customers being live and needing to make changes to their configuration, or needing to know what for example, like their marketing automation setup is, and making changes to that. So yeah, right now we are very focused on that. We have been for a little while, but this is a new direction that we're taking, where we have an entire team basically dedicated to this and building a holistic solution. So yeah, we want operational efficiency. Funnel's a complicated product in terms of like what it can do. Funnel does a lot of things for a lot of different people, and finding a way to make that easy to scale and easy to implement we're excited about that. And then short term, we're at an interesting like inflection point with like CRM especially, where we have built a lot of like the core features, the vision of like centralization with CRM it's there. So now the question becomes, how do you improve on that? How do you make enhancements, quality of life enhancements, usability enhancements, basically refining what we have already and making that even better, rather than what we've done in the past few years is just focusing on adding another feature, adding another feature, adding another feature. So it's a shift. It's really exciting because it's a shift in how we've been thinking about things. Now we can go back and refine those things that maybe we had been thinking about but not able to act on in the past.
One that I saw released recently was the tours and appointments flag. So, say you're on a centralized team that is only taking care of renewals, you probably don't need to have a tab for what tours you're giving that day because you're not going to be giving any day.
Yeah.
So, just making sure that like the dashboard people go to is customized for their actual role in very fine-tuned ways is something I saw that the team was working
Yeah.
on, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. It seems small, but it's one of those things that you think about it and you're like, yes, of course, we should do that. And now we have the time and the ability to go back and think more about those things. We have a lot of bigger picture items when it comes to like the dashboard and like MyQ and how we want to present information and things like that coming up too. So that's really exciting as well.
I love it. Well, thanks for chatting through a little bit of how you make funnel better every day and how you work with the team to do that and how that rolls out to our customers. So thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.